Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro at the Toronto Film Festival, and it's time to review The Holdovers. This is the latest film from Alexander Payne. This is about a curmudgeon-y teacher played by Paul Giamatti who is forced to look after a younger student over the holidays at a boarding school. You've probably seen the trailer. This film is shot like a film from the 70s. It sounds like a film from the 70s, and they do the whole like page wipe. But I actually didn't think this felt gimmicky. And I was able to be immersed in the film without it going, ha ha, ha ha, look at all the things that I remember that they used to be like that. It felt very organic to the storytelling and a style that just eventually went into the background. The thing I don't like about nostalgia is when it's just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. And I don't think that this film is guilty of that. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to be the Belfast of this year, the Green Book of this year, but there's no need to be cynical because although this movie does have Christmas charm and it is a tearjerker, there's nothing about it, I think, that felt disingenuous or shameless. This is a carefully assembled drama with really well fleshed out characters. It didn't feel like it was just hitting familiar beats. I mean, even when it was hitting the familiar beats, I think I just didn't notice it or recognize it because the movie is able to deviate from other stories just enough where it feels fresh and original and like I don't know what's going to happen next. I think that's just a sign of a really good script. Surprisingly, nothing felt forced here. I don't think it arrived at a squeaky clean conclusion that I was just expecting to happen from just watching the trailer alone. Overall, I was just really pleased that I got exactly what I wanted out of this film. It's delightful, it's charming, it's sweet, and it's hilarious. It really does play like a comedy and the laughs are very rewarding. But perhaps the biggest pleasure of all in this film is Paul Giamatti's performance. I literally can't think of another actor whose face I could put into this character and have this very disagreeable man come across as likable and for us to want to root for him. One bit that I never got tired of was Paul Giamatti's character's tendency to weaponize language and use his cunning wit against his students and people he thinks are silly. This got a lot of big laughs from the audience when he just decides, I'm gonna now lay into this person. And then Dominic Sessa has a really meaty role, which I would consider a co-lead to Giamatti's character. He plays a little troublemaker kid who has a big heart and who we are really rooting for to succeed. And last but not least, Divine Joy Randolph gives one of the best supporting performances I've seen this year as a member of the cafeteria staff who is also stuck with them over winter break. This is a character where I felt like a less mature script could have tried to shoehorn her into the other two characters' lives in a way that would feel unnatural. But I thought they did a good job of balancing the fact that these characters are on separate journeys well and didn't try to force them together too much. This movie's well over 2 hours and it doesn't feel it at all. And in fact, when I was watching it, I was noticing that every single scene felt important or purposeful or dug a little bit deeper into one of the characters. I think the movie's very skillful at how it reveals the deeper layers of these characters. I don't think anybody really overdoes it, and everybody carries the hurt of their characters in believable and grounded ways. When emotions come to the surface, it feels right for the characters. And I think this is just because Alexander Payne is really a master of directing drama. And when it goes for, you know, a tearjerker moment or two at the end, you know, the movie's probably gonna get you. It's probably gonna get you. Yeah, by that point, it feels earned. I can't really think of anything this film does that is groundbreaking or is original or new. It's essentially doing things we've seen before in a really delightful and refreshing way. The cinematography and production design are actually given a lot of attention here and are really strong. This film tries to transport you into a time machine and take you to Boston and the Northeast during Christmas time. And it's a really gorgeous film. There's a lot of glistening snow and Christmas lights, sweaters and warm wooden walls to make you feel just at home and wrapped in a little gift and cozy for the holidays. The film is trying to do no less than delight you, and it succeeds. Yeah, it's not exactly a movie I'm gonna be like chewing on or mulling over, but it's not to say that it doesn't also have a message that I think is just worth hearing. You know, maybe not totally original, but one that I didn't necessarily expect going in, I guess. Lastly, I just want to emphasize that I laughed a whole lot during this movie, and the jokes and humor really paid off for me. If this movie wasn't funny, it really wouldn't be much, but it's a good time because the comedy works so well and is expertly done. I'm like between an 8 and a 9 on this movie. Me too. As far as Oscars go, this movie is easily going to get nominated for many of them. Best Picture, obviously. Paul Giamatti, I mean, alongside American Splendor and Sideways, this joins the ranks of the great Giamatti performances easily, and this better be his first Best Actor nomination. Yeah, it's insane that he hasn't been nominated, and I wouldn't mind seeing him win for this. I mean, so far, this might be my favorite performance I've seen, but I have not seen all of the predicted nominees. He is legitimately like really good, and I know some people saw the movie and kind of dismissed the idea that he could win, but I don't think I would, actually. I don't think I would dismiss that. I also might not predict it. I don't know if I would predict that win. On its worst day, picture, screenplay, actor, supporting actress. I don't see how Divine Joy Randolph doesn't come along. She has many great moments. Sometimes she just completely owns the audience with one line. And then she has little subtle moments where you can peek into her soul. But I think the majority of her performance is the audience laughing along with her. I think Dominic Sessa would actually be more than worthy of a supporting actor nomination. Yeah. He's kind of a co-lead, but he has excellent chemistry with Paul Giamatti, goes right toe-to-toe with him. He had a very memorable, layered personality, and it was a beautifully done performance. Yeah. Just like all of them. Absolutely. I think he'd be just as worthy of coming along. I don't know if the Oscars are going to say you're a little too much of a new face for us, but honestly, like maybe not. That category is full of performances right now, so I don't know where I'd have him, but I'm very, very open to that just happening. I guess the other nominations it could get is directing and editing, and that would be if they really love this movie. I expect them to love the movie. Do you really think it will get both directing and editing? There's a lot of strong directing contenders. I definitely am predicting it right now. I mean, Alexander Payne, we see that he gets in when he does movies in general, like that get Best Picture. I don't see why this should be an exception. I mean, I thought this was really well done, well directed, and there is a clear vision behind it with the styles that it's tributing and everything. I mean, making a film like this is just proclaiming yourself a cinephile, and the director's branch seems like they would identify with that. And it's easy to be like, yes, I know exactly what you're going for and I love it in the first minute of the film. I don't think it'd be like a devastating snub if it didn't get nominated, but it's definitely worthy. And the only reason I said it is because there's a lot of films I want to get into director this year, including Anatomy and Zone. Like, I want both of those to be in. And then editing, I mean, it's one of those films like Banshees where the editing is not really noticeable except for the page wipes, but it's a comedy and it flows nicely. I noticed some spots where the editing was pretty strong. I noticed some good like punctuations in there. I thought like I think it's strong. It just feels like it would. So those are the nominations we would predict for the Holdovers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Do you ever get stuck with your teacher in a boarding school?